what has shifted in you and in your perspective since alchemy?
It's just been incredible for me on many different levels since coming back. I have to say that I have been involved in the past as a psychotherapist and so forth, educator, teacher, many different roles with different women throughout the years. But I had never experienced such a profound joining of women across all levels, just coming together in such a pure and natural way. It was so inspiring for me that it just set me on fire. It truly has. I, as a grandmother, as an Indigenous elder, I have often wondered where to go with some of the teachings and the ways and how to connect. I firmly believe that in my lineage there's something that we call the children of the seventh fire. And I believe that that lineage is something that I'm carrying forth in terms of a bridge. But where to connect these things to, and how to do that, and how, as a collective whole, do we move forward, has always been a question. And with coming to California, I just opened to, oh gosh, here is a container, here is a place where we don't all have to have the same experience in life. We don't have to come from the same place, but we can join together and see that we have something to say. We can give voice to our concerns. We can actually take what burns in our heart and turn that into a form of compassionate action for our world, for our children, our grandchildren, and they're all our children and grandchildren, whether you have them or not. I really was so inspired, and since then, I have been working with the mentoring group. I really feel inspired and hopeful that there are places where all this wonderful wisdom and insight that all of these women have can be put in a place where it can be utilized by each and every one of us, and we can make truly a difference. And that's what's really set me on fire. It has inspired me in so many ways. I'm looking forward to what's going to be created even further out of this, and I have a feeling it will be pretty significant in this circle with all of you once again, because there's been many days that I longed for just feeling that again. And so thank you all who are here with me.
The experience at Alchemy was very transformative for me because I came away feeling like my hard edges had been softened, that some of the questions I've been exploring about professional development and women's leadership and how to pursue excellence and influence in the most skillful feminine way in my own circles, how I was able to, through the supportive space and the gentleness and the faith in the fact that we would choose the right thing and pursue the right thing, all of those elements transformed the sort of patriarchal hard edge of myself that I think I've been aware of but have subconsciously adapted as part of the way I felt like I needed to operate in the world in order to get things done and to move things forward. It softened those parts of me, and it brought about a greater sense of humility, awareness of, and a thirst for the need to listen and to be patient with the desire I have to learn and grow. And so the deductive process of asking questions, of listening, of being patient, of opening, really were transformative for me and very affirming of the power of women's wisdom, but in a way that I'd never actually allowed myself to be open to, or I think actually I've never seen. I've never been a part of a women's gathering where trust, affirmation, love even were these pillars of what happened there. I'm just immensely grateful because for me it was deeply personal. and spiritual, and I'm grateful for that.
As somebody who comes from, the younger generation, I just want to second the fact that I have never experienced anything like that before. And, it's exciting to hear some of the women elders say that they haven't either, that I have felt such a lessening of my general anxiety and fear since that gathering, and also less need to explain myself in many, many situations. I'm so grateful that this network exists and that it's continuing to grow. I feel like I would love to find a way to really place this at the center of my life, because it's giving me a paradigm shift in my perspective of what is important to me.
More than anything, an affirmation that we were at the right place at the right time, doing what needed to happen, and that each of us who was there responded to a higher calling. And so there we were, continuing what we signed up to do. For me, I felt more than ever the need to come together to rest and drink from some restorative well and experience the other women tending to our needs, whether they were expressed or not. I think, to me, that was the magic that was felt, is being in the sweet company of women. When women manifest their highest divine feminine self, and so we're not manifesting how to be in the world of patriarchy, manifest sometimes with women too, in their effort to achieve or whatever. Many moments that were very powerful. And I'll just share very briefly. I experienced a very deep connection with my sisters, Native American sisters and other indigenous who were there, and we have continued the conversation since. I showed up because it was an event that I needed to be part of. I spoke about diversity, and I spoke about the need to amplify the circle. And so if I didn't put my feet where my mouth was, then I had no business saying what I said about diversity. And I wanted to congratulate also the core team that I'm sure made a really big, expansive effort to diversify that circle, so the circle looked more like how the world looks like for women. I just wanted to express my gratitude to each one of you for whatever role you played in my own growth and affirmation when I was there.
One of the experiences that I left with was I didn't know how to express it really, because it was so powerful and different. The way I finally ended up expressing it was that I felt bigger. I felt more of me. I felt more connected. I felt more expanded. I felt it was just made me bigger. Something that helped to trigger that happened at the very end. Releasing the grandmothers, that was one of the most powerful experiences I think I've had. My ancestors were there. Of course I'm bigger because I've got all these people.
Thing is, every time I go to messages from you four organizers, I'm just awed. I'm more and more, I say, my goodness, there's so much that you put into this. I'm just more and more awestruck by it all the time. And the wonderful set of people that you pulled together, it was quite amazing. We cannot love each other and ourselves, and it probably has to go in the other order until we can love ourselves. We can't really love each other, and we cannot do that enough in this world. And I felt like we got a lot of practice and wonderful opportunities for that. And also the word silence. I still feel that we as women, I still think we can talk too much and just take on a male, anonymous, whatever terms you want to use, way of over-talking things. And have been giving a lot of thought to that. What would it look like to really do more of it in silence and ritual and not so much talking?
Friday night when I first came, I thought, oh my, what have I gotten into? But I didn't want to not come back. I was curious. This wonderful sense of meeting so many women all over the world, it seemed like. But even better to see the young girls that were there, because they're the ones that are going to have to continue on. What we experienced was powerful. I'm feeling inadequate to express to them what happened, but you want everybody to know what it was like. And I was impressed by the women of many religions, the women that weren't really attached to religion. They had their own spirituality. I was very impressed by the indigenous women.
What most struck me about alchemy was, in my experiences with women's groups, especially women's groups of faith and spirit, I've always returned home feeling that what was expressed and what was shared was attached to that space, and that when I came back home, it didn't come with me. That radical sense of the beloved, that embodiment was only, I felt allowed in certain spaces when women gathered. I think that what I experienced at Alchemy was that wasn't the case. It kind of shattered that open for me, and that the enormous circle, the energy, it was just so large. It just kind of blew that away from me, and so tremendously empowering for me to be able to bring that embodiment back and live it in my daily life. I'm very grateful for everyone that was there and all that created together.
I really had the most transformative time there. I resonated so well with the energy of the young people and with the energy of the grandmothers. The circle that we had was so moving and lovely and important that, we acknowledged the wounds that we have as women and understood that, we cannot ignore them. We have to, in some way, process so that we can move forward from our wounds. So much that was wonderful for me and supported what I felt it has been my life's work, which is to work with young women and help them hold them in the capability that they will be able to enable a better world for us. I feel some tremendous responsibility in the last years of what has happened to our world in not a good way. I want to hold the creativity and the compassion that is necessary for the change in this world. And I see even more clearly that, we're in a time of astonishing change and chaos, and the foundational institutions of our lives are disintegrating in so many ways, and somehow we will be figuring out together how that will reform itself. And I do put my trust in women's voices and women's capability to create the new formation of our world. And because we are the life givers, and this is our job, to figure out how to make it better. So I feel this group is going to be an important part of a better world and an important mission that I want to be involved in.
I echo the power, and so much gratitude to the core organizers for making sure the young women were there, and the grandmothers, and the power of their presence, I think, was transformative.
I loved being at the Alchemy Conference. It was the familiar of it that has for a long time drawn me in. And any time I've been in a circle of women where the center was sacred, where spirit rested in the center, we could turn there when we're confused. It's allowed love to be so present. Love of women is so sweet and fragrant and generous. Miracles and magic happen. Is my experience, and I love being there.